All right, here we are. Welcome back to another episode of the All Maker Hoops podcast. This is I want to say this is the fourth ever emergency podcast. As per usual, joining me is my younger brother, Matt Driscoll.
Hey H, it's a pleasure. I was actually about to go to bed, but breaking news here, podcast,
Yes,
we don't
and
sleep. So
no, we do not sleep. Yeah. In case you could tell, the different employments that Matt has, me and Matt have. I'm a teacher, so I do have off tomorrow, and then Matt is still in the corporate world, so he is going to work tomorrow. But however, I won't be holding on to him too late.
fortunately,
I'm not. How with this being said, I'm also not going to throw out the routine. This is episode 83, which was won by Ted Hendricks, football player apparently from 1969 to 1983. Wes Welker, who I do know.
I was gonna
um,
say Wes Walker, yeah.
Not many after that, unfortunately, and then there were no NBA players, and I don't know if there's any Mets players to ever wear the 83 as well. So we can address that in another episode though. But I did want to give at least one before that. So emergency pods. And also one other thing, Matt. Yeah, I would like to congratulate you for this is the latest that you've stayed up for a podcast. This is the second latest I've stayed up for a podcast, actually, behind when Luka got traded. And I know people are wondering this isn't even that big of a trade, but to us it is. Jrue Holiday is the first member of the 2024. I guess you could say second besides O'Shea Brissett, but the second member of the 2024 championship Boston Celtics now off the team. So like, yeah, the first key player off the team, and we got him for Anfernee Simons, who is a young great scorer for the Portland Trailblazers on Matt's Portland Trailblazers for that matter. It was
That's
he
right.
was a big fan of them last year. So obviously, yeah, we're not going to be on here for too long, but yeah, we just wanted to get our thoughts out on there immediately. So Matt, just like immediate, what are your immediate thoughts on this so far?
So obviously, as you know, I've been a Portland Trailblazers stan, supporter of theirs for the last year. Anfernee Simons was on my fantasy team, so I followed his season pretty closely. He started off the year pretty slow, but he ended it pretty strong. I think he finished averaging just slightly under 20 points, and the year before he averaged 22 points. So last 3 years, I wrote this down. He averaged 21, 5 assists, and four boards on 43, 37, 91 splits. And he just turned 26 earlier this month, so he's still a very young guy. And like you said, I think right before I hopped on, we were talking about it. His defense isn't great, but like you said, playing next to Derek White could definitely help that.
Yeah, so obviously, Brad Stevens' priorities have been, yeah, he has a couple priorities this offseason. However, just winning at all costs that isn't the priority anymore, given Jason Tatum's injury and also given the second Abram nonsense. So I think his priority is to A, get the financial straight, and B, when Jason Tatum comes back from the injury, to have a solid roster that he can play with. And trading Jrue Holiday for Anfernee Simons, they lose a lot on defense, but they gain a lot on offense. I think that Anfernee Simons at this point in his career is a much better offensive player than Jrue Holiday, in my opinion. So,
I have
Brad
a
Stevens,
couple more things.
yeah, of course, yeah. So, but people were concerned that Brad was just going to trade Drew, Porzingis, and Brown for not bums, but like definitely players that are significantly worse than them. Anthony Simons
Mhm.
is a worse player than Jrue Holiday to date. I don't know if he's gonna be worse than him next year. Depending, like I don't even know what the Blazers are going to do with Jrue Holiday, but I'm very very interested to see what's the next step for Boston, because I don't know if it's going to be trading Porzingis, trading Brown, or even like a small move like trading Sam Hauser, even Payne Pritchard. So it's very interesting to say the least what's going to happen there. But um, yeah, Matt, you said you had a couple more points. Why don't you add those on? Of
So I mean, I'm just going to talk about this from the Celtics side at first, and maybe later we can touch on the Blazers side. But
course, yeah.
obviously, Drew Holiday was projected to make 30 million next year. But because they were in the second apron, the Celtics are saving 40 million in just tax savings alone next
Oh well.
season with this trade. Um, Drew's making 30 this year, 32.4 next year, 34.8 the year after, and 37 in 2026 or yeah, 2026, 27. While Simons, he's under contract for 2 years. He's making 26 this year and 28 the next year, and he's extension eligible. So very a lot more flexibility for the Celtics. That just opened up, and now they're only 18 million over this in the second apron still. So if they can trade it for Zinger, so like you said, Sam Hauser. I think if you trade Sam Hauser, you still need to lose 8 million because I think Hauser's making 10 million. Um,
Yeah, so I'm a little confused by this just because, yeah, so Keith Smith, and maybe I'll need to do the math on this once we get off the pod. But so Keith Smith said Boston is out about 18 million over the second apron after trading Jrue for Simons. I don't think they were that much over. But then Bobby Marks just said, um, the salary is out. So to Boston, Anfernee Simons 25.9 mil, and then 27.7, and then an unrestricted free agent for 2026. And the Celtics get off the combined 72 owed to Holiday in 26 and 27 and 28, and projected 40 million in tax savings, as you said, and 18 million below the second apron. So I don't know exactly what that means. Like, yes, so like one of them just like, I'm not saying either of them are wrong, but one of them definitely did a typo there. But I'm interested to say the least because like this certainly isn't the last move the Celtics are going to make. Even though if it was the last move they'd make, I would still like this roster a lot. Given that, yeah, like obviously we love the Celtics two-way ability to the entire thing, but like having one when you have Derek White as your other perimeter defender, who I'm very confident the Celtics are going to hold on to, you can afford to have a weaker defender, especially when you have Jaylen Brown on the other end as well, and you also have guys like and Tatum when he comes back. But like, yeah, like I have no idea what their big man situation is going to be at all. But I'm very interested to see what the roster moves are going to be. That includes Luke Cornett, Al Horford, and Kristaps Porzingis as well.
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
definitely there's still a lot of changes to be made with this roster, so it's hard to predict what the Celtics will look like. Um, I mean, but just getting like trading Jrue, and obviously we state that Jrue is definitely a better player than Simons. We knew that while
mhm,
the Celtics were looking to trade Jrue, they weren't going to get a better player. But getting some draft capital, I mean, I don't know if we mentioned they got the 2030 and 2031 second round picks. Uh, that's just an added bonus. I thought, I mean, to get off of one of these contracts, you would have to add a pick, and I think maybe the Celtics just turned those second round picks and added to a Kristaps Porzingis contract or a trade with the Kristaps Porzingis contract, but we'll see. But just to touch on the Trailblazers side, Chris, I don't know if you remember, but during the regular season, the Blazers had an elite defense.
mhm.
Um, they had Cleans is going into his second year. They had Scoot Henderson, Denny, Tamari Cameron is a really good defender. So they definitely have an identity, and they're definitely trying to build around their defense. And I think it's a very smart move. They're a very young and exciting team to watch next year. They do lack a star, which maybe they'll end up drafting. I don't know what pick they have. I should have looked that up, but you know, I would be excited if I was a Trailblazer fan.
100%. And yeah, I'd be excited about the end. And literally this entire day, I was working on my modules for my summer job, and also while I was doing that, I was updating my top 100 list. And I believe on that list, I did have Anfernee Simons as like a top 12 player in the Northwest Division. So I did have to move, and I replaced him with Jrue when Jrue moves up to like the top 10ish area. So yeah, but like to like fit as a whole, I don't know what the Blazers do with Jrue, because like obviously he's like the perfect vet presence that they need. Yeah, like the Blazers were a very exciting team last year, but I don't know how much excitement can happen when you're like losing a lot of games multiple years in a row. Even though the Blazers did improve, but I just don't see how a line like that can improve that much. But I don't know I don't know what exactly they could get back for Jrue at this point that would benefit them both in the long run and the current one. But yeah,
See,
yeah, because
I don't know
like
because
because it would
sorry,
be
go ahead.
it would be to a contender for sure. So I don't know if it's a team like the Mavs, as we said earlier, but that being said, they also just extended Daniel Gafford, so that's like one of the main assets that would probably have to be included in the deal. So that's probably unlikely. Um maybe a team like the Cavs if they wanted to trade Darius Garland in that deal. But I don't know how much each of them are making. But I do know like it's like, yeah, like Garland's the better player, but would Drew be the better fit for that team? Currently, I think that's a discussion to be had. The Knicks probably not, because yeah, I think the Brunson Holiday fit would be a little weird. Going through the top teams in each conference, so um, the Wolves could be a very interesting team actually. Now they think about that, because they need a point guard and they need defense as well. So um, who knows? But either way, this is a very exciting point in the off season, and we're 2 days before the draft. So very, very exciting moment for sure.
The thing is, the only questions I have is like the Blazers are, because I have no idea what their cap situation is like. They're definitely under the second apron at least I know.
Mhm.
Maybe they saw Scoot take a jump last year and they realized that Simons isn't in like their future plans and they want to trade him before he got extended. But he still has 2 years left on his contract. And like we said, Jrue Holiday is a better player. Like, but the Blazers aren't in win now mode. Um, I mean, they clearly have an identity. Maybe they're just trying to be like a playoff team right now instead of a contender. Because small market teams,
Yeah.
you gotta take that step of becoming a good team before you become a great team. But I don't know if they flipped Drew or I don't know. But I do see
Mhm.
the vision. I do see where they are coming from. But I'm just
Absolutely.
shocked they added, like I said
Yeah,
before, I'm shocked they added picks.
yeah, like and also the fact that yes, Scoot started to get more playing time towards the end of the season. So like having Scoots, having like, Simon, Scoots, and Sharp, all three of them would have been a little tough. So like throwing one of them and then having Jrue be like he can be like the guy to mentor Scoots and Sharp. I think that's also another move that's a possibility. But however, Jrue is that is a pretty expensive contract just for a mentor. So
Yeah,
um
exactly.
yes, so like yeah, like I would be shocked if he served out all 3 years. Maybe he's here for just the 1 year, like a kind of like an Al Horford to the Thunder situation. Um, but yeah, yeah, who knows the situation for sure. But yeah, like I know that we said that yeah, we weren't gonna be on here for too long. But I feel like 12 minutes is doing a little bit of a disservice. So Matt, we talked about it yesterday in NBA Max, but why don't you give just like quick elevator pitch? How about give your thoughts on the Kevin Durant trade?
Kevin Durant trade. I think it's a great deal for the Rockets. I've been a massive Kevin Durant supporter for basically his entire career. Um, and he was very elite last year. I mean, the Suns' issues, I mean, if you want to say they're off the court issues that Kevin Durant denies, he's partly to blame for. You could, that's fine by me, but his on the court, anyone but Kevin Durant is to blame. Uh, I think he was over his true shooting last year was like 63%, 62%. I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but
63, I think, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
and everybody said that all year the Rockets' take was they're a very good young team. They got an elite defense, but they don't have that guy. They don't have the guy that they can go to in the fourth quarter, late games where they need a bucket. And Kevin Durant's one of the best players in the league at that. So, and Ime Udoka has wanted to play with, or has wanted to coach Kevin Durant since he's been the coach of the Boston Celtics. So, definitely a win for the Suns. I mean, a win for the Rockets. I don't know what the Suns are going to do. I don't know if they're going to keep Jalen Green or trade him. I think the Suns are just in a miserable spot right now.
Maybe they traded
So
to the Blazers.
maybe they trade him to the Blazers. Who knows? Um, they need some draft capital. I mean, they did get the 10th overall pick. Maybe they try to use that to trade up in the draft. I don't know how, but um, Suns are in a tough spot. Rockets saw they were 2 seed and saw that they were still pretty far away, even though they had a good regular season, and they're going for it. And I really I support that. And I think getting off, sorry, I'm kind of rambling here. I think getting
It's
off
okay.
the Jalen Green contract before you have to give him that max extension if you don't know if he's worth that yet. I think that's a very good move by the Rockets because you have other guys that you're gonna have to pay. So you got to pick and choose who you pay.
That's for sure. All right, so yeah, by the time I'm finished yapping, I think that will be mark the 15-minute mark, which I feel like is usually the minimum for podcasts. It's probably a little more, but who cares? Yeah, yeah. We set the line at the beginning. You and I set the line. Like we were like driving somewhere. We said we'll set the line over under emergency pods before the end of the offseason. We said 1.5 taking the over, so we're already at the one. For
I
now,
hammered the
um,
over.
yeah, so yeah, that's gonna be very easy over. We'll probably do one more for the. We were gonna do one for the KD one, but then yeah, it wasn't right to do it the day of the NBA final, especially because I was gonna go on NBA Max later that day. Um, but yeah,
Celtics trade for Giannis. We can do another one.
oh yeah, of course. Hopefully that one won't be on a won't be on a Monday night. Like we'll go,
Chris, one
yeah,
more comment. I looked
yeah,
up Simons' defense on Twitter, and a lot
mhm,
of tweets are saying Simons is one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Um,
yeah.
and I think maybe the Celtics will teach him how to defend. He's a young guy.
Well, yeah.
He's
Brad Stevens has a tendency to make it so that his defenders aren't. They're still not good defenders, but like the defensive scheme between Isaiah Thomas, Kemba Walker, Kyrie Irving, all of them were not good in defense, but it didn't hurt their team. So hopefully that'll be the same for Anfernee Simons. But I'm I'm interested to say the least. And
on offense.
Yeah. This could also be a good test for Joe Mazzulla as well, because it'll be like his first time coaching, because he's always, even when he didn't have Jrue, he did it Marcus Smart along his side. So this trade also kind of probably like, I don't know if it like kills the Marcus Smart back to the Celtics deals talks, but at the very least, it probably does a couple of things to at least quiet it down. But who knows what happens. Matt, did you know? I'm pretty sure this is the fourth room in the house that I've done a podcast in. I've done most of them in my room. I did like probably like 5 or 6 in the family room. I've done like 2 or 3 in John's room. I don't think I've ever done one in your room. And then, or have I? I don't think I have.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And yeah, and obviously none in Aaron or parents' room. But yeah, so this is the first time doing it in the dining room. Who knows? Maybe I'll be doing it outside in the barbecue area, but by the end of the summer. But yeah, Matt, thanks for coming on. Probably took up like an extra, took away like half hour of your of sleep from you. So yeah, appreciate you coming on.
I wasn't going to bed anyway.
Probably not, right? All right. Cool. All right. Well, happy off season, everyone. Congrats to the OKC Thunder and winning the finals. Can't believe, I already said that last night on the NBA Max pod, so I don't feel too bad. But we will be back on Thursday at 8. That will be after the NBA drafts, unfortunately. Yeah, we didn't really have enough time to do an NBA draft episode because we're pretty busy Tuesday, Wednesday. But regardless, this has been another episode of the All Recruiters podcast. Go ahead, Matt.
What was the Doofenshmirtz quote? Like, if I had 2 nickels for every time this happened, it's if I had 2 nickels for every time Jrue Holiday, or if I had a nickel Jrue Holiday was in a trade between the Blazers and the Celtics, I'd have 2 nickels. It's pretty interesting.
That's right. Yeah. And it'd be even more interesting if you never played a game for the Blazers, but which who knows whether that happened or not. But
that's true.
Yeah, who knows? All right. Yeah, well, this has been another episode of the All Recruiters podcast. Hope everyone has a great night. I guess most of you are going to be watching this come morning time. Hope everyone has a great night or a great day. But until then, keep grinding and stay hoping. Have a good night, everyone.
Oh, Canada. Put on a suit, drink water. Don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.